Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Reasonably Effective podcast. I'm Ten Types, as I show my uncommon fossil.
Well, glad to be here. Looking forward to our discussion.
Yeah, and today we're talking about the new expansion, Pitch Black. Pitch Black is right around the corner. Not this week, but next week it'll be out. And I mean, pre-releases are currently happening. And, I'm excited for this set. I've been paying a lot of attention to stuff going on with the set. You haven't been paying as much attention, right? To the, stuff in Japan and things like that.
No, I haven't been, so that'll be good. We're talking about the cards. Obviously, I'm talking about how they what I think they'll fit into our standard format, and you'll probably have a little more insight into what they're doing in Japan.
Yeah, and as you're saying, this is fitting into the current standard format. That means that we're putting these cards into the tier list and essentially kind of like this is part of the full standard tier list. So, for example, Dragapult, Dragapult's would be S tier. It's obviously not here, so we're not going to have anything S tier. I can't imagine. We'll see if we have something in A tier even. We'll see what tiers we're putting things in. These we have 10 decks from this set. I think these are the 10 most notable decks. I guess there some are like big decks with like different things going on and different ways to play them. Some are very narrow, some are good, some are like kind of not very good or interesting. But anyways, let's just hop right in. You don't have anywhere you necessarily want to start, right?
No, because I mean I've gone through these, but I really don't know tier wise what's going to go where at the moment.
Yeah, so let's start with the deck that has gotten, I think, the most talk, which is Hide and Sneak. I'm going to quickly go over the deck, and then you can, add anything you have, if there's
Yeah.
like anything I missed, which is that I might do. But anyways, Hide and Sneak is an ability which says the Pokemon with this ability can't be affected by effects of attacks or abilities from your opponent's Pokemon. This is on 4 different Pokemon. And then we have Sinistcha, which has the ability, also has the attack Matcha Spin for 1 colorless. If you have 6 or more Pokemon you discarded with Hide and Sneak, you put 4 damage counters on each of your opponent's Pokemon. Then we also have the Spiritomb. If you have 13 or more Pokemon in your discard with the ability Hide and Sneak, you choose 2 of your opponent's Pokemon, again for 1 psychic on a basic here, and you quadruple the damage on both of them. And then we also have Dhelmise. Dhelmise is a 1 Psychic Energy attacker doing 30, but then if you have 4 more Pokemon you discard with the ability Hide and Sneak, you do 140 more, so 170 there. You do have 140 HP, which is like big, and you have 3 Retreat, which is also big, so not as good there. I'm not going to talk about the Bayonet and Chuppa unless you want to talk about them there, but yeah, it's a brief overview of what the deck does, or the main idea.
Yeah, so we have what do we have? Six how many Pokemon do we have with hide and seek on the
Uh,
text?
we have
The ability.
Wait, sorry, the Pokemon that have it is the ability.
Just the ability, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, there are 4 there, which are 2 separate evolution lines. Yeah.
Right, the Sinestcha and the Bayonet line. I don't know if the ability, what it does, by the way, is the Pokemon can't be affected by attacks or abilities from your opponent's Pokemon, which actually is a good ability. It's probably going to be used just to get in the discard pile because that's what lets these other attacks. But if you have one that could attack as well, which is the right, that's where the Sinestcha, right, which does have an attack. It's got the ability, so you're protected from a Dragapult, which obviously is always useful there on the bench. That is, you're protected there. If you have 6 or more Pokemon in the discard pile with the ability, then you place 4 damage cards each your opponent's Pokemon. I think that's kind of a fun one. You're obviously going to be playing the lines for it. It's a colorless attacker. Are all the attack? What are the attack costs? The other ones, by the way.
They're psychic, yeah. So you're playing presumably psychic energy. I've seen lists of this. This is the most. So there are 2 decks from the set that have seen a bunch of play in Japan. When I say a bunch of play, I mean they're not as much as Dragapult, but they are
Mhm.
in like they're like that second place deck in competing for that. Obviously they are new decks, so people are gonna play them more. But this
Yep.
is one of those, and they've been playing Telepathic Psychic Energy, which is like solid. It's not crazy in the deck because you do want to search Pokemon, you want to get them, as you said, into the discard pile. And I've seen some people as well, like some people are running more heavily into the Sinistcha, which to me makes sense because it can attack. But then some people more running the Bayonet because I think mostly just to like it discard it easier, or some just running like the Bayonet and the
Mm.
Sinistcha as in the stage ones and not really running the basics because you don't want to play them down.
Okay.
Because
Yep.
this isn't the same as something like Mad Party, United Wings, where you really need to run all of them. Um, if you're like attacking with the Delmise and even the Sinistra, you don't need all 16 in your deck. With the Spiritomb, you really do need all 16 though.
Right, you don't need them all, so right, I can see dropping the basics. Obviously, yeah, if you play the Shuppet Bayonet line and you start a Shuppet, you can obviously you can use it for the attack. It's not the best attack, the Shuppet Bayonet, but also you can use your telepathic psychic energy to kind of set up. So you could have different arguments about what's best there. Like you said, that Delmise is you see is the primary one. It does 170 for one energy. It's all one energy attackers, which is nice basics in a lot of these cases. So 170 for one energy, not bad there. Like you said, the Spiritomb is I think a more interesting one. There you need this is the one you need a lot. You need 13 and more Pokemon to just compile with the hide and seek. You've got 16 in total, so it's only going to be late game, and you have to essentially really load your deck with the hide and seek Pokemon that makes the deck less consistent. So maybe you don't really want to be using Spiritomb, I don't know. But then you choose two of your opponent's Pokemon and you quadruple the damage counters on them. So a really tremendous attack potentially, right? Quadrupling damage counters is something I don't really know what's done that in the past, honestly. I'm used to doubling, typically quadrupling, potentially two big knockouts with Spiritomb. So I think having that in the deck would be a +2, but you do have to lean into the hide and seek cards. So are decks playing Spiritomb in Japan, do you know?
Um, I think most are not playing Spiritomb, as you said, you need to play more hide and sneak cards. And most are not because, as you said, it makes the deck less consistent. And also, if you're attacking with Delmise a lot, quadrupling the damage onto your opponent's Pokemon is not super good. But if you're attacking with the Sinistra a lot, then
Right.
the solo end attack quadrupling damage onto their Pokemon is pretty like good theoretically.
Yeah.
So it has seen some play. I'd say it's in maybe I guess telling me like somewhere between 10 and 20% of the decks, I think is kind of what it's like.
Okay.
Yeah, which isn't like none. It's a lot are not though.
Okay, so let me ask you. So when it says you're quadrupling damage counters, if there's something that would stop the placement of damage counters, it stops this attack. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Um, like Battle Cage. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that stops
Hmm.
it. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure. I know there's been answered, and I'm pretty sure it stops it there, which is
Okay.
annoying. And that's especially annoying for Sinistra as well. If your opponent plays Battle Cage, that's really going to hurt you. This is
Yes.
actually a deck that really wants Prism Tower. Prism Tower is a good or not new stadium, like newish state. Well, okay, it is actually from the newest set internationally at the time of recording this and releasing this. But obviously, it's not in the same set, but it is really, I'd say, good with this deck. In other decks, it's more mediocre. I mean, in Sarilege, I guess it's good, but Sarilege, I like it, but it's not the very best deck. And there's also the new supporter card, Gwen. I didn't mention that yet, where you discard two Pokemon from your hand to draw 6 cards. Essentially, I
Right.
kind of abbreviated what it does, but yeah, that's pretty good here as well.
Yeah, so I mean, cards like Gwen, we'll talk about them as they fit with new decks, but it's not going to be part of the conversation in general, right? So like Gwen, I,
Mhm.
potentially is a good card for those things. There may be some cards that help other decks, but these are decks featuring the main attackers being from the new set we're talking about. So
Yeah.
this is one of the hide and sneak, one of the top decks from in terms of plays in Japan. It's one of the better decks out there too, right? So is this going to be top of our tier list, do you think, for these new decks?
I think it probably will be. We'll obviously kind of talk about it. I think just going into this, I was kind of thinking it would be the top of the tier list. We will see. And I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on some of these other like decks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it is, but I'm not sure exactly where it goes. I want to put it in. I don't want to put it in 8. I mean, the question is because I feel like Delmise is really like it's really good turn one. Um, it's pretty doable, right? Turn one,
Yeah.
doing 170 there, which is super good. Right? I imagine you'd agree with
Yes.
that. But then like 170 as the game goes on just isn't. I mean, sure, 170 on a single prize basic is nice, but like it's not crazy good, especially when it's the main thing you're doing. Yes, you can hit weakness on Dragon Ball EX with Low School Fairy EX as well, which is definitely meaningful, but like. I feel like this deck will just kind of struggle as the game goes on at times, and it feels
Yeah.
either too linear if you're just using Delmise pretty much, or too inconsistent if you're really mixing in like all the different attackers there.
Yeah, making it, yeah, like you said, it's gonna start strong. The damage doesn't scale like you need it to, I don't think. So that's gonna be a problem. Certainly, if you're in a single prize format, single prize only format, then you're doing your 170. You might be enough to get knockouts with that. Um, so but up against Rulebox Pokemon, I mean, yes, if you're two-shotting things, you still could win the game. But it's tough, and you with the Pokemon, and you got to get back the Delmise consistently, right? We do have um Night Stretcher, which is great, but you're gonna need Night Stretcher and probably some Sacred Ash as well, depending on how these games go. So I don't know. I'll be honest with you. It's not an A tier deck, I don't think.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you. I think in reality, it might be more like a C tier deck.
I think it's.
But
I don't know. Like, what
but
decks would you compare this to in standard? I don't know if there's a good comparison, or even not in standard as well.
I mean, look at single price decks. Alakazam is better. Crustal's
Yeah.
better. No, Alakazam's better than this,
I don't know. I feel like
right?
it's pretty close. I mean, Alakazam is like it does more damage. Well, okay, it technically doesn't do damage, but it like can take one shots and stuff.
Yeah.
But it also is an evolution, so it's slower. I'd say it's more vulnerable to like spread. It has the higher upside, but I think Alakazam's a little bit better. I also don't love Alakazam, right? But I
Right.
don't know. I think they're close, and I think Alakazam is probably a B tier jack.
The problem is you can't one shot Rulebox Pokemon except
You
for
can,
unless it's
huh?
if it's Dragon type and you have Lilith
Yeah.
Clefairy, right?
Or Meowth. You do one shot Meowth, which is actually nice. I don't know if I'm a hater of Meowth. I don't really play it in decks, but like it's played a lot, and you do one shot it, which is meaningful.
Yeah, but whatever. Yes, that is true. But for the most part, you're not one-shotting Rulebox Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
Especially, and Meowth is not an attacker, right?
No.
So,
Yeah.
it's going to be difficult, I think, to win these games. If we had the old the tool that gave it 100 HP, right? That would be interesting for it.
I don't know.
Um,
Wait, for the I
was
don't
it
know. I feel like
100? You gave up an extra prize, right?
yeah, Luxurious Cape. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of mediocre.
Well, it would be nice. You'd probably play one or two copies and
I
try
guess
to
maybe.
be smart about when you put it on, right? Because that could help. But um, I so all right, we'll put it on B tier, right? Because you don't
Mhm.
want it. I don't think it could be A tier, and you don't think it's lower than B tier, right?
Yeah, I guess I don't really see an A tier now. Like the more you talk about it, but like I think it's decent. I think it could be the second best deck in the game. I think there's a world which that could be the case. I don't necessarily think it will be, but I mean, I think I could see. I think it will be like a top 10 deck for a little while, like going
Well,
down.
well, certainly it's going to get plays. So certainly, like in the online meta, you're going to see the deck a lot, and even in live, you're going to see the deck a fair amount. Look, it's a fun deck. I like the deck. I like this type of style deck. So that I'm pleased with as well. I would have liked to have seen maybe another good attacker
Y-
with the ability, because I think having the ability, because the ability is good, and if you can attack with the ability, it would be nice. The Sinestro is obviously an option there, but it's limited, right?
Yeah,
Um, so it's always possible they're going to print some more stuff down the road for it, I guess. So, but yeah, I don't know. I think honestly, I'd rather take most Rulebox decks, a good Rulebox deck, and I'm going to have a tough time winning with the hide and sneak. That's just my sense.
maybe. I'm interested in seeing how that plays out. Obviously, again, the metagame Dragapult is still like very good as well, so
Yes.
theoretically you should be good against that. I don't think it's like this pure auto win, but I think it is pretty good for you there. And then I guess we'll move on to the other highly played deck in Japan right now. It's been kind of alternating between these two decks, which has been more played. It's been very back and forth. And it's Mega Extra EX. Mega Extra EX here, I'll just read it out. It's obviously a Mega, so it's a 3 prizer. It's a stage 1 with 340 HP. It's metal type. And Undermine for 2 metal does 90, and you mill 2 from your opponent. Then for 3 metal, you do 200, and if you have 5 energies attached, then you do 330 there. This is being played with Matang, and then of course you got like Genesect EX there as well to help you set up. What are your thoughts on this? I haven't told you my thoughts on it yet. I don't. I'm sure I've told you them at some point, but it's probably been a while. But what are your thoughts on this card in deck as well?
Yeah, so I mean, 340 HP on a stage one is pretty good, I think. Obviously, you're given for third prize, so it's a little skewed there. But I think that the HP is pretty good there. Retreat cost is 4, so that's tough. Although we have the tool that lets me move 3 energies, right? If it's knocked out, I believe. Is that correct?
Uh,
Heavy baton?
yeah, that is the card. Is that in standard? Oh yeah, it is in standard. Okay.
I think so. So therefore, 4 is better than 3 in a case like this. So. To have that because look, what else? Undermine the first attack 90, discard 2 is just not going to work. I think.
Yeah.
I imagine you'd agree with that, correct?
Yeah. Theoretically, you get lucky, mill their like boss or something. But yeah, you don't want to be using that very much.
Right. I mean, these little mills are appealing, and they certainly appeal to myself. But I know through experience, it won't work. But this other attack, right? If you're doing 330 damage on a 340 HP stage 1 Pokemon, you can win the game for sure. So that's the right. I mean, right? You'd be pretty comfortable with that. But you need 5 energies, and that's a problem, right? So if I'm relying on Matang, I don't think I'm going to hit enough energies to set up fast enough, right? I think I'm going to end up working. I'm going to have to do a bunch of work just to get 3 energies on, right? So I'll be hitting 200 most of the time, is my guess. And in which case, I'm just going to lose games because I'm not one-shotting the Rulebox Pokemon. Yes, they might two-shot me, but they're taking 3 prizes when they do. So I think I'm going to come out of the short end of things, honestly, most of the time with this. I just think it's going to be too hard to get 5 energies. That's my thought right now.
Yeah, it seems like kind of hard. You could use Safe Banks code breaking. There were certain things to like help you some. Oh, there's Philippe as well as supporter from Chaos Rising. I haven't really played with it. I don't think it's really being played with my extra. I could be wrong. I'm not sure on that one. Or it might be played actually, but you still need the energies and you need them in the discard there. And so my extra EX I think is, I mean, it. I don't know. I just like, yeah, 200 for 3, not super good. 330 for 5. I mean, it's a lot of energy as you're saying. But Tang is inconsistent as well. Yeah, I mean, I don't think this card's very good. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's pretty. When I first saw this card, I think I put it. I think we did a tier list. I might have done one on my own. I don't remember, but I think it went in like D tier for me. And it has been played a bunch in Japan, as I said. And I just I don't think it's very good. And yeah, I'd put this deck in. I'd probably put it in C tier. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's C tier. I do. I mean, honestly, partly I'm feeling like the hide and sneak might be a little overrated. I know we disagree on that, but I think obviously if you can get the 5 energies, you're okay with it. But it's just gonna be tough to do. So it's C tier, which puts it in the place of you could play it, but you have a lot of other options that are at least as good, if not better. So that's kind of I think C tier is a fair place for it at this point.
Yeah, they're saying like, oh, if you have 5 energies, it's good, but like like surely if you have 5 energies, it's got to be good, right? Like that's a lot of energy.
It is, yes. Yes, saying 5 energies is good, but you're probably, in which case it would be high. If it was less than 5 energies, it would be higher on the tier list. If it was 3 energies, it would certainly be higher on this list for sure. But they made it. It's enticing, but it's probably a bit of a trap card. That's I think where we probably would both fall on it.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even find it that interesting either. I feel like these big energy, big damage Pokemon, I don't even like find that interesting. A lot of times they're not very good, and yeah, that's my prediction for this card. I think again, seeing play in Japan, I think it's one of these decks that's going to kind of like fizzle out. But anyways, speaking of big Pokemon, I guess we'll move on to the Wailord EX next. Wailord EX has 380 HP on his stage 1 EX, so it's more HP than Mega Excadrill, and gives up 1 less prize. Then for 120, or sorry, for 3 you do 120, then for 5, again, you do 270, put yourself to sleep. Then there's the supporter card Misty's Energy as well, accelerating 4 water energies from your deck to one of your Pokemon, and then you end your turn.
Yeah, so look, obviously huge HP, the highest HP in the game. There's what, some stage 2 megas with 380, I think. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Mhm.
So you have Misty's energy. You're gonna have, you can't use it your first turn going first though, so you're gonna have to use it to get 4 energies on your whale, your whalmer, and then hope they don't have boss to knock you out. Because if they do that, well, then you just kind of cry there. Um, and then you can do 270. You can use heavy baton that moves 3 energies because yes, they can't one shot you, but eventually you will get knocked out. Now I have to do it 3 times, so therefore, if you can do 270 per turn consistently and you're getting 2 shot, you can win the game. The first attack's 120 for 3. You're not going to win with that attack, I don't think. So, although you are actually, but you actually, I'll take that back. Well, partly. If you can 2 shot a bunch of EX Roblox Pokemon with the Surf attack, and they're 2 shotting you. So, and that might be 3 shotting you, in which case you can get ahead. So the first attack will have some value as well in situations. 270, we have what, black belts training or whatever, that does an extra 30 to rule box. Is that right?
Yeah, you can do. Or wait, so no, that does
Or
an extra
50?
40. And then
Okay.
Huron does an extra 30, and then yeah, I mean honestly though, I feel like you're not getting 3 shot. You're getting 2 shot. You can get 1 shot as well. Like, I guess you probably
Yeah.
won't get 1 shot. I feel like you'll get 2 shot like almost all the time though. You could go for some
Yes.
healing stuff as well. But I don't know. I don't really see it. I don't really see it here with Wailord DX. Like, it's got high HP, which also, by the people are talking about, like, okay, this card doesn't have, like, it's not good, so it's not really power creep, but like the set, the sets are kind of getting weaker, and they're also in some ways getting less interesting. People are like, oh, they're
Mhm.
reversing power creep, but then they are also increasing like the numbers, which is kind of weird. So, um,
Yeah.
if that's their
Uh,
goal, they're not doing super well. But, um, anyways, Wailord DX is. I mean, sure, the damage is nice, I guess, but and the HP is nice, but like 60 more HP than Dragapult EX is like cool, but you're not some like absolute tank compared to Dragapult. You have more HP, but 60 more isn't like absurd, and doesn't really honestly change that much of the math. So I feel like this card is pretty bad.
Well, look, I think traditionally Warlord obviously has huge HP, but they're not that good, and I think this follows, that train very nicely.
Yeah, I mean some are
Uh,
good.
yeah, but not generally, right? I don't, that's my sense,
Yeah,
but
like some if you're using them just as walls, um, and just like letting them take damage and healing them completely in like a stall deck, then it could be good. But yeah, I haven't played like Wailord Wall Stall, but yeah,
yeah.
it definitely is like it's a thing you could do, except you can't actually do it in standard because like if we had turbo scenario, maybe you could do that. But what are you using, like Jumbo Ice Cream or something? Like that card's not that good. It's okay, but it's not
Oh,
that good.
Jumbo Ice Cream's awesome. That's what I was about to say. The nice thing about this is you can play Jumbo Ice Cream in your deck. So
Or
I love Jumbo Ice Cream in decks, and this
I mean,
deck,
it's
of course,
fun,
wants
but it's not
it
that
is.
good. It's like
I mean,
okay.
if you're not familiar with it, because it's not played that much because it isn't that good. But it heals 80 damage from your active Pokemon. That's really good. You have to have 3 energies or more attached, and obviously you need the energies here. So it's crying out for Jumbo Ice Cream. The problem is how you can get the energies attached. I criticized Mega Excadrill because Batang being inconsistent, but at least it had a chance. I don't know how you're getting the Wailord powered up, right? You
Yeah,
have the one turn with that Misty's card, right? And then after that,
yeah. I mean, you
I
mentioned
guess
Heavy Baton as well, which is
you have
interesting.
Baton that moves 3 though, so now I have to attach manually and I have to Crispin for
Well, you're
a
not
water
crispening.
plus.
No, you're
Well, I
well,
have to
but
have water and a second type of energy,
well,
right?
why are you playing
How am I
Crispin?
getting? Well, how am I
For
getting two
Monkey Noise.
energies? How do I accelerate 2 energies to my next
You don't
second
need to
Warlord then?
accelerate. Like if you're that's if you're getting 1 shot every turn. If you're getting 1 shot every turn, then it's really
Oh, that's
terrible.
okay. So I've already got 1 or 2 attached to my Warlord on the
Yeah,
bench.
you'll get 5 shot, and you don't need to accelerate any energies.
Yeah. Well, okay. So all right. So here's the deck. If you want, this is I cracked it here. So I play it with Blissey EX and I play it with Wally. Wally's
No,
whatever
that
it's called,
doesn't
right?
work. No, because it's only megas.
Oh, it's only megas, so I
Yeah,
can't
this
heal it
is
fully.
big, but not
Yeah,
mega.
you're right. So if it was a mega, I could do that. Okay.
You'll play it with a new, I guess, Primarina, which is meant to use with it, which heals on evolution.
Uh, oh, okay. Is that in that you lose the energies with it?
Yeah, it's right below it, by the way, if you're looking at Pokemon proxies.
Oh, the stage two. Um, yeah, when you play, it heals all. So, yeah, so I guess it's kind of intended to go in that deck, but yeah, no, it's not good. I agree. I'm trying to talk into something. It's not good. So is it? It's either D or F, right? I think those
I
are the
think
only
it's
legit.
D tier.
Okay.
It's not like the worst deck ever. There are definitely worse decks. Um, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah. So Warlord fans, I don't think you're getting the card you're hoping to play this set, but
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna go next.
Well, let's go to another, I guess, focus Pokemon, which is Lurantis EX here. I'm just going to talk about the second attack here, but it has 260 HP as a stage 1 EX here, and for 1 grass you do 60, but if this Pokemon is healed this turn, you do 260 instead. Again, that's just
Right.
1 grass doing 260, which is good if you can meet the condition.
Right. So I had to then take a look at all the healing options and format here. So obviously potion is the most basic way. You can use super potion that heals 60 because you discard energy, but it's a single energy attack, so that's nice there. You can play community center with the deck,
Yeah.
right? So this is which is probably what you end up putting in the deck there, and Cook as a supporter that heals 70, but probably community center and a little bit of super potion, I would think, to do it. The healing's not bad. Obviously, you have to be damaged but not knocked out. You're 260 HP, and unfortunately, you're gonna get knocked out one shot most of the time, I suspect. So it's 60 HP on the basic. So if your opponent is playing like Dragapult or say Monkey Dory or something like that that puts damage counters on things, they'd have to be careful because unless they can knock out like the basic, getting damage is risky for them.
Oh, sorry, the basic has
So
70 HP.
okay, 70. Sorry, yes, 70. It's 10 more than the 60. That's what I was thinking. You're right. It's 70, which is important, right? So Dragapult doesn't knock out the basics. So
Yeah.
important there. I guess we have to play the Risky Ruin Stadium probably to get damage on because you need a little more reliable way to do that. So you have to get the damage on, not get knocked out, heal it off. Not impossible. It's not going to flow as nicely as I'd like, but I like this type of thing. I will say, doing 260 on a stage 1 for 1 energy, that is appealing. So I think to me, it's not complete trash. I mean, look, I think it's better than Warlord. I can see this being working a little more smoothly than that, just because you can power it up so easily.
Yeah. The 1 energy 260 is like super appealing. Um, Honestly, it reminds me of Mega Camera DX, which I thought was going to be kind of good. I think, I mean, it's underrated, certainly Mega Camera DX, because I've like never seen anyone play it essentially ever, and it's like okay, I guess. I played it, and it's not great, but it's probably C tier. So yeah, I'd say this in C tier or in D tier. Honestly, I think it's D tier actually. Like it is better than Warlord DX, I guess. I mean, theoretically it's good if you can like, but you need to like damage it and then you need to heal it again, which is weird.
Ye-
Getting the self damage honestly is kind of hard, I think. So I think it's probably D tier. It looks cool. I could see it in C tier if you want as well.
Yeah, because even if you use Risky Ruins, which you only get your it damage the one turn.
Yeah.
So I mean obviously you're probably getting one shot though. And that's the big problem. You're getting one shot, so you're gonna struggle with damage, and um, you're gonna one shot some things, but you're not gonna one shot everything. Also at 260, so 260 is not a bad number. But you're gonna obviously be two shotting Dragapult, so you're gonna just lose the Dragapult matchup pretty hard there. So
I mean,
yeah,
wait,
it's
but
gonna
you're not getting one shot, right? Sorry.
you're not well if they've placed the 60 on on the basic right
Yeah, but then you can heal it
before.
all. Hopefully,
That's true.
maybe
So you're not getting two shot with Dragapult. I mean,
one shot.
you're not getting one shot, so you'll have a chance with it. I think Dragapult's got the advantage, though. Is what
Yeah, I
I'd
mean
say
it's
in that
Dragon Ball,
case.
you know.
And then other EXs out, the Roblox are probably most of those probably can one shot you, I would think. So, um, but yeah, is it C? Is it D? You think it's what D tier?
I think so. I mean, I don't know if we're ordering these, but I definitely say it's a little better than Warlord. I'd say it's close to Whirler than Mega Excadrill though.
Okay. I mean, it's somewhere high D tier, low C tier. It's a Pokemon that I like. So to me, I like it a lot more. It's
Yeah.
much more appealing to me than Werelord. But I don't know. It's still not going to be all that successful. I will admit.
Yeah, so let's pop in D tier. Let's move on
Yeah.
to a deck I like, or Pokemon I like, which is the Slowbro. This is the no hand side or no cards in hand stuff. So Slowbro for one Psychic does 210 if you have no cards in hand for one Psychic on stage one. The Silvally is a Pokemon that you could play there, searching for a supporter if you have no cards in hand once every turn on your ability.
Yeah.
And the Thievul's maybe my like Silvally is super cool. So is Thievul. Those are probably my two favorite cards from the set. Thievul copies one of your opponent's Pokemon's attacks if you have no cards in hand, for a 2 cost on stage one there. So you could use that with like Ignition. I think that the deck ultimately is probably not good, right? Like it's probably pretty bad, but it seems really fun.
Yeah. No, it's going to be fun. Yeah, doing as is a stage one energy again. So it's just like
Lurantis, yeah.
the Lurentis. Obviously, it's a single prize, so the HP is lower, but it's single prize. You're doing 210 for one energy, so you will one shot some rule box Pokemon, but you're not going to one shot most rule box Pokemon, so that's a problem. Um, we can hit obviously Dragapult for weakness with the Lewis Clefairy, and then then you're one shotting it, so that's good. The Silvally then gets you cards, but you're starting your turn just with whatever prizes you took, and whatever you draw for turn. So you're not starting in a good position. I don't. That's going to hurt you at some point. Come bite you. The Thievul's fun, but that's going to be less consistent. So it's really going to be a Slowbro deck with maybe the Thievul splashed in it, and I think it's gonna struggle. But at least it's a one. Compared to the Lurentis, it is a single prize Pokemon, so it does get an edge over that, I would say.
Yeah, I'd say this is probably C tier below Mega Excadrill.
Yeah.
Yeah, like getting no cards in hand is kind of difficult, and like doing stuff while you have no cards in hand is also kind of difficult. So yeah, but it's fun, and
Yeah,
like it can do decent stuff.
yeah. Look, it's fun. And I'll be on. Will it perform? How's it going to compare to the hide and sneak, right? Because these are the single prize fun type decks. It's kind of in this fun single prize deck it's a meme deck kind of thing in a sense. I would like to have the Radiant, the Grass Radiant
Yeah, the Venusaur.
Venusaur that drew you cards at the end of your turn. I don't remember if that was before or after prizes were taken.
That would be, I believe, after.
Was it after? Yeah, I think it was, which was worse for it. But at least you got what 3 cards in hand, plus your
4.
draw for turn. So, yeah, I think C tier is where it belongs.
Yeah. Then I guess we'll talk. There's nowhere you want to go in particular, right?
No.
Okay, so let's talk about the fossil stuff. This is kind of weird. We have Relicanth. This is the Pokemon here. I don't think the actual fossil Pokemon themselves are that good. Maybe Bastiodon support Pokemon could be good, but Relicanth here has the attack fossil beatdown, doing 10, 30 more for each of your bunch Pokemon with the Antique of their name, which are the fossils. And then you also have the Stadium card here, Fossil Excavation Site, potentially the best card in this set, depending how you're like kind of have your criteria there. And it's a stadium letting you search for 2 fossils, putting them onto your bench from your deck. So honestly, interesting. Relicanth, swinging for 160 there as well for 1 colorless on a basic. And I think the deck would be Relicanth and Tortuga personally. And I do want to play this deck. I think it's pretty cool and not bad, but I want to hear your thoughts on it as well. And I also haven't seen people playing this deck, I will say.
Okay, right. So 30 per antique, so it can do 160 max. We have the stadium that obviously helps a lot with the fossils, but it only gets you 2 per turn. So you're gonna have you're gonna struggle, I think, to get a full bench of fossils.
I don't know. You can play like essentially as many as you want, though.
What do you mean?
As many fossils.
Well, but to get them in play is the hard part, though, right?
Well, yeah, you can play like if you play like 20 fossils in your deck or something, it shouldn't be that hard to get them to play.
Well, Yeah, that is true. I don't know how many fossils there are in the game, but
There's
there are.
there's like let me see, antique.
And these are all. I think. Are there any fossils besides the antiques right now? By the way.
No, that's the same thing. But there's currently 5 in standard, and then there's 2 more in the
Okay.
set. So you could be playing theoretically 28. Um,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure,
I,
unless
I,
yeah,
the thing is, if you play 20, your deck's not going to set up well, right?
yeah, no, you
That's
shouldn't
the
do that probably. But I don't know. I mean, like maybe something like 16. I don't know. That's a bunch. Depends. I don't
yeah.
know
I
how
mean,
this is gonna work. I haven't thought it through fully, but
no. I mean, I think you have to have it like at least 12 or something in deck, right? Because you're going to need to draw some, and
this is
then
kind of like hide
ultraviolet
and
is a
seek
wit.
though.
Except the damage numbers is not as good.
It's
That's a
10
big problem.
less.
It's only 10 less. It's on a basic, which is a big plus. Um,
It's colorless, so
y-
yeah.
yeah, I mean, but you can't pair it with something else, even though it's colorless, because you can
Yeah,
only
no,
pair
no.
it with another fossil because you're committing to the fossil thing. So you can't pair it in with something else. The fossils how do the fossils work now? Can you can get them out of play? No, you can't get them out of play
Y-
automatically, right?
Well,
If they're
you
in the
can.
active.
You can discard them. Yeah.
Okay, so you can do that because you need to do some switching as well, right?
Yeah.
Because you
Oh, you
can't
cannot
retreat
retreat.
them.
Yeah, you can't retreat them. Yeah.
So even if I played Latias, I can't retreat it, right?
No, they don't have any retreat cost. I'm pretty sure. So I guess they kind of
Okay.
have free retreat, like technically, but they can't retreat.
Okay, they just can't retreat. So there's no retreat cost modification. So you are protected from the ones that do damage based on the retreat costs. So therefore, your fossils are good for that too, I guess. But yeah, look, it's fun. I don't know. The question is, how good is what is a fossil that you can pair it with going to be, right? I assume if you're going with a fossil deck like the Tortuga, is it just going to be better to go with a Tortuga deck and not do the Relicanth? I guess that's kind of the question, right?
Probably. Well, I mean, probably not, because Tortuga. I mean, I think Tortuga is good. I haven't seen anyone play Tortuga in Japan or internationally. I mean, like from maybe a little before the set, but not with the new Fossil Stadium. And I legitimately think that card is like actually good. I've played it some, and it is sometimes really good. Sometimes it's not very good, but um, it does, by the way, 30 for each item in your opponent's discard pile for 1 water on a stage 1 there, which can be, again, really good, really strong, doing, a good chunk of damage. Kind of depends on the situation, but it's generally fine. Honestly, it's doing probably a similar amount to Relicanth a lot of the time. I think it actually has the same HP as well, if I'm not mistaken. But, like, it's decent. It can be, again, really amazing at times as well. So that's cool. I don't know. Maybe Tortuga with something else could be better, like Tortuga plus Mega Starmie or something like that. But I don't know. I think Relicanth is also decent, and you could just use you could legitimately just play like 4 Relicanth, maybe some other Pokemon.
Yeah,
Actually, no, you can't really play any other Pokemon. So you just play 4 Relicanth and like a bunch of fossils, then you're just swinging for 160 every turn, which is kind of what
right.
the hide and seek deck's doing. And I don't know. I think it's okay. Not
I
great.
think that it's not going to set up as easy as the hide and seek deck, though, right? I don't think.
If you play all the fossils, actually, yeah, because you're guaranteed to start this, and then you play
Right.
all the fossils, right?
Well, the fossils are 60 HP, which does get knocked out by a Dragapult,
Yeah, some
though.
of
So
them
you
don't get
gotta
knocked out by Dragapult though.
because the ability, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. One of them doesn't. I think yeah, anti-cover fossil, which I've had Dragapult players attack and then unlive and be sad because it doesn't work. I think the
Yeah.
rest might.
I mean, the problem is if they knock out your active, which they're going to do easily, and they take out one of your fossils, that's where you get in trouble, right? And also, Monkey Dory 2 shots your fossil, 2 turns. You know what I mean there. And if they're playing Duskull, they can take it out that way too. So, um, at some point, assuming you lose, and probably half the time you're going to lose a fossil at some point in the game, and then you're going to struggle to get back to that damage number. So,
I don't know. I mean, you don't
uh,
like lose all your fossils though. You just lose like a couple.
no, that's true. I figured you're going to tell me I should play the Terra Pokemon with
Here's your
the
underdepths.
stadium.
Yeah, you
Here's your
could do
underdepth,
that. That's
right?
like funny. It's just that then it's gonna be hard to find your fossils.
Yes. Okay. So you're not going to say that. So look, it's I
Yeah,
love
you said it,
Relicanth.
not me. You said it.
Look, Relicanth is a lot of fun. So I like Relicanth as a Pokemon. Does fun things. This is another fun one. Fossils are cool. So it's just not going to work that well. I get it's not B tier though. The hide and sneaks. I think we have a B tier. This is not at that level. But this is at C tier. It's kind of like the Slowbro cat territory. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'd probably put it below it, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I could see it above or below. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the only plus is like you're going to slap in a copy of Tortuga possibly, right? Because you can play just water energy for the attack with
Yeah.
this.
Or like Bastiodon
Um,
for like walling as well. That's interesting as well. We didn't even talk about that. That walls Pokemon that have two less energy attached, but is a stage 2 fossil there. So you're adding a bunch of different stuff, which is clunky, but it could be good. And like there's different fossils that do cool things. Unfortunately, most of them are stage 2s, as in
yeah.
like they're all stage 2s. I mean, Tortuga isn't, it's a stage 1, but it's like the middle evolution. So currently all the ones in are stage 2s that are the final evolutions.
Yes, and you have to play the stage one as another deck slot or rare candy. Neither option is all that good. So look, do you want to put Relicanth above or below Slowbro? I could go. I'm fine either way, but it's right. To me, it's pretty close to that
Yeah,
level.
I'd say it's probably below.
Okay.
I really want it to be like cool and stuff. I don't think it's actually going to
Yeah.
be good. And I mean, I like Slowbro a little more as well. Or I don't know if Slowbro. I like the other stuff of the deck. Not
Okay.
the supporter. The supporter is actually good, but the Silvally and the Thievul, I'm so excited for them.
Yeah. Look, so Valley definitely has some value, I think, in more broadly, and you do love, you love these type of hand size shenanigans. So it's right. It's your kind of deck.
Yeah. Then we got, I guess, speaking of, you mentioned this a little earlier, retreat cost. We have Mega Chandelure EX. This card's weird, so I'll just read it out. It does, the ability increases retreat cost of your opponent's active by one colorless for each one you have in play.
Yep.
Or each Chandelure will only increase by one, so it will stack. And then for 2 Psychic, you do 130, 50 more for each colorless in your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost. I'm not gonna lie, I think this is pretty bad. It can be paired with the quote mill Chandelure, which has this ability that each player draws a card, which is kind of
Mhm.
funny. And I've seen that a little bit in Japan. There's also a Marshadow that like does damage based on retreat costs, but I think it's pretty bad.
Yeah. So, well, you think this card's bad? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think the Marshadow's bad. Maybe the Marshadow's actually
Okay.
okay, but I think I do think the Mega Chandelure is bad as well.
Yeah, right. It has the Marshadow, the single prize that does. You're going to play Marshadow in the deck too, a little bit, I would think, as your secondary attacker, because it's a single prize option, 30 per retreat cost. So a smaller number, but it's a single prize Pokemon, so it'll have some value. You're looking to get multiple Chandelures in play. So if we get three in play, I'm not sure. You're not getting three stage twos in play consistently, but let's pretend I can do that just to try to give this a chance. That's 150 extra, so I am now at what 280, right?
Yeah.
So which is good, but I'm not one-shotting some things I'd like to be one-shotting too. So I need four in play to one-shot pretty much everything in format.
Yeah, I mean
Um,
you do a psychic weakness, so you can get Drag Pull there. Honestly, I feel like the big
yeah.
issue though isn't something like that. I think the big issue is basics when they play Latias EX down, like, and then you're just like out here being sad. Um,
Well,
yeah,
that's true. Latias crushes you, and you can't shut it down with the Watchtower or whatever, the Team
yeah,
Rocket
nah,
Stadium, because it's not colorless. So you're gonna that's a problem, and you can't one shot even the Latias EX because you gust that up. You're still not one shotting that either. Um, so obviously there's a bunch of decks with Latias. So the big basic decks are around, and that's gonna really crush you. So, and Marshadow doesn't help you. Marshadow does zero damage if they have Latias in play. So it's even worse. So, but not every deck's playing Latias, right? So, um, but even those decks without Latias, you're not going to hit the numbers you want often enough. You'll get two Mega Chandelures in play, and you're doing 230, but you have to have two stage twos. You need two Psychic Energies, so you're using either Wondrous Patch or something, right? Getting two of the same type of energy in play is not always the easiest thing either. So you're going to struggle a little bit there. So yeah, it's kind of, to me it's fun, but I like this retreat cost kind of manipulation, but it's not going to be good. So it's, I think it's got to be in D tier probably when it comes down to it.
Yeah. Also, there is like the control-y stuff, which I like briefly mentioned, which isn't that
Yeah.
good, right? Realistically, kind of struggles with the same stuff. Realistically, trapping Pokemon isn't very viable, especially when you're like not stopping them exactly from retreating. You're just saying like, oh, I'd like you not to retreat. I'm gonna make it a little harder, but like you can still do it. And like increase. I mean, you played Spite Ops EX, and I played a little Spite Ops EX and control stuff, and that was
Yeah.
pretty bad, right?
Yeah, it wasn't good. I mean, yeah, you can try having something that you trap, and then you need an attacker that's bench sniping, right? Which you could try to
Yeah.
do,
Or
but
like control.
it
Like try to deck them out or something.
right.
Mill.
Yes. But it's not going to be super successful. Oh wait, we still have Uxian format, right? So I can pair this with Uxie. I get like 3 Mega Chandelures and Uxium, and they get out a few times, but I boss them up and stuff. So I can I can work it with that. So maybe I do an Uxie Chandelure deck at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Well, I
I
don't.
think
It's not. Is it going to be worse than a regular Chandelure deck? I'm not so sure.
maybe I don't know. Like ultimately, I feel like this is a worse. The best way to describe it though is going to be a worse Spite Up CX, and Spite Up CX wasn't that good.
Yeah. No, Spite Ops EX was, I think, yes. No, Spite Ops EX was better, I would say. So, yeah, it's not going to work well. Yes, it can work with Lili's Clefairy, but a lot of other things can as well that are just better to start with. So it's D tier. I don't think it's as good as Laurentis, honestly. I think it's much. I think it's clunkier than that.
Yeah, you think it's better or worse than Wailord?
It's probably better than Warlord. I think Warlord's. I don't imagine Warlord functioning myself.
Okay, I don't know. I think it might be. I think Wailord might be a little better, but also I like it. It doesn't really matter. They're both pretty bad.
No,
Maybe
okay.
something could come along and be crazy for them.
Yeah, I look. If these things work, though, these are fun things if they do work. But it's going to be a lot of effort to try to get it probably to be marginally okay at best. That is probably best case scenario for a lot of these cards.
Yeah. Then we got three more decks here. These are in some ways I guess we'll talk about like the poster child of the set, kinda Mega Darkrai EX here. I'll talk about Mega Darkrai EX. I'll also bring up Chi-Yu, and then you can tell me if there are other cards you want me to bring up, or you can go through other ones as well.
Yeah.
But Duskgrade here on Mega Darkrai EX for 2 darkness, you do 110, and if any of your bench Pokemon have damage counters on them, you do 110 more. So 220 for 2 darkness. You are 280 HP basic darkness Pokemon as well with grass weakness. And then Abyss Eye, which is of course the name of the set in Japan, for 3 darkness, you instantly knock out your opponent's active if they're affected by a special condition. Oh yes, there is also Dark Bell, an item that is good. This card is like generally pretty solid. Confusing both active Pokemon except for Darkness Pokemon. It's intended for this stack, so it is a way to get a special condition. You also have like Volcanion EX standard. And then we also have this new Chi-Yu Spiraling Envy for 1 darkness. If this Pokemon has 2 or more damage counters on it, you do 110 for 1 darkness. Otherwise, you do 20, and you also don't hit weakness with this damage. So that doesn't matter too much, but it is a thing on the card. And yeah, pretty much you're looking to do 110 for 1, but again, you do need damage counters on itself, which is kind of hard to do.
Yeah. So that's what I'm asked. So what are you thinking for damage counters here?
Probably
Because we can't use Risky Ruins here, right?
yeah. From what I've seen, it's been with Toxtricity, which is unfortunate because then you can't attack turn 1. This ultimately seems, kind of like Phanrotom, Cramorant, Solrock, even the new Dhelmise in some sense. With these like solid attacks turn 1, except you can't really attack turn 1. And then like after turn 1, it's really not very impressive there. And so I don't think this Chi is super good. With Mega Darkrai, you're actually kind of looking at Toxtricity there as well, I think. You could use something else, but it's still 2 energies, so I think Toxtricity makes the most sense for that attack. And I think the second attack on Mega Darkrai is not really. I mean, it's expensive and it's fine, but it's expensive and it kind of ultimately mediocre.
I mean, it's like a bad Roaring Moon EX to me. Is what I'm thinking
Mhm.
of here.
Yeah.
Right. The second the one attack on Roaring Moon just knocked out your opponent's active Pokemon. Right. You damaged yourself, I believe. Right.
Yeah.
With it, it was 3 energies, kind of similar to the second attack, but this one you have to get a special condition on, and I think that's obviously harder to do than the other didn't have that act thing. But we had Dark Patch, so we could power it up. You have the first attack. We have to do work to get the damage on. I don't and obviously Risky Ruins doesn't work. That's the big way to get damage. So all of a sudden it's a problem.
Yeah.
If you had a Pokemon like that Gengar from days past that was the discard pile, you could put it on the bench with what 2 or 4 damage counters on it. I don't remember
Yeah.
the exact
Or sorry, I
two.
think
So
I think it's 3 actually, because you
okay,
can move
it's
2 off to like something other stuff that's in Zoroark. But anyways, yeah. Also, I will say
right.
like you can use Risk Wounds with this technically and like damage something else. Um,
Yes.
it's not amazing. It's workable, but again, getting the energy on is still a little awkward.
Right, because even so, the second attack's really tough. The first attack, even you still need 2. So I mean, especially I have a big basic deck. Which I like. I want to attack turn 1. I've got to get 2 darkness energy on. So I probably do. I have to Crispin, right? Plus have a darkness in hand already. Is that what I have to do to pull it off? Which doesn't feel good,
Yeah, I'm
right?
trying to think. Like I feel like there's got to be something. I can't think of it though. Yeah. Yeah. You could like Glass Trumpet, Energy Switch, or something wacky like that. But yeah.
Yeah, right. So it's a 3 prize Pokemon. So I don't think I just you're gonna struggle because you've got to set up and you've got to take a quick knockout, a multi-prize knockout. Too. You can't just take a single prize knockout turn 1 because if they should one shot you on your second turn, all of a sudden you're one knockout away from losing the game. So yeah. I mean, yes, it's the card that the set's named after the Pokemon, but the attacks they've given it, I don't think are doing any favors. So it's not that good. It's better than some of the things we talked about, but it's like a C tier deck, I would think.
Yeah. I think it's C tier. Probably. I mean, it's worse than Mega Excadrill. Um,
Yeah.
that's the only thing I'm confident on here in that tier.
Yeah, how it compares to like Slowbro, Relicanth, I'm not certain. I don't know, but even if it's not going to be too much better or worse than those decks, I would think, which isn't a good thing, especially for the card that's on the packaging for the expansion.
Yeah.
You expect more from it.
Yeah. So well, let's put it, I guess, the bottom of C tier. I like the other ones a bit more there. But
Okay.
then we got another one of the big Pokemon from the set, which is Megazera or EX, another one of the new Megas. And yeah, this one is also kind of interesting. Megazera or EX has 2 attacks here, just like Mega Darkrai, and Zepto turn for 3 lightning is 150, and you switch it with one of your bench Pokemon, so a hit and run style attack there. And then Thunder Fist for 1 lightning does 60 times the amount of energy attached to this Pokemon. And there was the new special energy from the set, which is like Bolty Lightning Energy or something like that, where you do um, 20 more damage with a lightning Pokemon that it's attached to, which is a good card. The synergy here is fine, but it is a good card. And obviously it has synergy with the first attack there, with something like the electric exploring energy from the discard to it as well.
Yeah, so you have electric. You have Latias that's a basic, so we can get it from the bench to the active. We have the special lightning energy. So I mean, I think you're using the first attack primarily. I mean, yes, the Zepto turn lets you do 150 and switch to the bench, so you could do a hit and run behind something. If a walling Pokemon, you could pair it with I don't know. You could pair it with Crustle, I guess, or something. Hit and run. Although that you're not going to get the free retreat off that. So, but you could go behind a wall. I don't think there's hit and runs decks aren't good generally speaking. I don't know, and I don't think we have the right partners to try to make a hit and run deck work. Right? If we had like the old Wheezing with the neutralizing gas ability to shut down abilities, that could that type of thing has some appeal. But so you're gonna be using the first attack, um, but you can't really do much turn 1. So you're going first, I guess, trying to evolve and get a bunch of energies in play. Yeah, it's going to be okay, I guess. It's not terrible, but it's not good at the same time.
Yeah, I'd say this is probably also C tier. I'd put it. I think it's maybe a
Yeah,
little better than Mega Darker. And I mean, Mega Darker is kind of part of a Darkness Toolbox stack. When I say like Mega Zero Aura, I'd put maybe above Slowbro there. I don't know. I mean, I think it's all
yeah.
right. Maybe it's even lower than that. I don't know.
No, let's make it second behind the Mega Excadrill. I think the are you going to be doing enough damage with it? Probably not, but at least you're going to be attacking consistently. So I feel better about that. I'm going to be doing something each turn, which feels better than turns where I'm doing essentially doing nothing. So, but I think it's not going to be doing enough, unfortunately.
Yeah. Then we have the last card here. This is Toucannon. Toucannon is played some in Japan right now with it's a stage 2 single prizer here. For one colorless, you do 60 and you do 20 more for each bench Pokemon play both heroes and your opponents with the attack for the Rondo there, and then Skydraw with the ability once in your turn you can draw a card. Also, so I have a quick question. This is I don't know if off topic. It's not off topic, but do you notice anything about like this card? Does it remind you of anything?
It does not. No. So go
Okay,
ahead.
like Entei V
Sorry.
with
Is
Burning
it?
Rondo. It's a similar attack. Draw a card
Oh,
in the
oh yeah,
active
with the Rondo. That's
as
true.
well. Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's like a kind of a reference or something. I don't know, or it's similar. It's very weird.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it is similar there. Um, Anyways, so you are able to though do theoretically as you want to pair this with Airzu Underdaps. And I don't know exactly what Terra to pair it with, and I think in Japan they don't exactly know what Terra to pair it with, but you can be with a full bench of 8, you're doing to 20. If your opponent has no bench Pokemon, obviously they'll probably have some, so you can be doing, I mean, theoretically you could be taking one shots on like pretty much anything, but yeah, I mean it's not super interesting, I wouldn't say, because I mean, it's just like an extra draw is fine, but kind of whatever. And then this damage is like fine. It's not super interesting, but I'd say this card is all right.
Yeah, look, you're gonna get one shot. I gotta assume at 150
Yeah.
HP, so which is okay given one prize, but it's a stage two, so I can't set it up consistently. So that's gonna be a problem, I think. I'm not gonna be able to stream like 4 two-cannon attacks in a row, probably, right? I'm gonna fail somewhere along that sequence. So
Yeah, but then you
that's
attack
gonna
with
be a
like some like Ogerpon or Trap Ghost or something.
yeah, and but if you get multiple two cannons, then if you get 3 in play, drawing 3 extra cards, Pheasant to PEX is very good, right? So just give it drawing 3 extra cards is good. We do have the Trumbeak, so I want to give that a little shout out too here because that does 30. You flip a coin, prevent damage and effects done to this Pokemon next turn, and then we do have the Backtrack Badge tool, right? So
Yeah.
which lets you reflip coins on attack of a colorless Pokemon if you don't like the results. So now you're at what 75% of the time that the stage one won't take damage. They'll need a boss to get out of it, but if you're primarily a single prize deck with this, forcing them to use boss to damage into you a couple turns isn't a bad thing. So I probably would slap in that backtrack badge. I would think with the deck, um, but your opponent can shrink their bench to avoid damage, but then a lot of times they're going to slow themselves down. So that's not terrible there. But 60 plus 20, you're not going to get to big enough damage numbers often enough, I don't think, to it's you're gonna have some. To me, it's a deck. I'll have some fun with it, but I think it's just gonna come up short. Honestly, so unfortunately, I'm concerned I'll have attacks where I can't do much at all, turns where I can't do much. But even if I can consistently, I'm probably gonna just lose the prize race before it's done. It kind of feels like that sort of deck.
Yeah, I know. It kind of reminds me of Trap Ghost as well, which Trap Ghost I haven't played in a while, but yeah, I don't really know how good that deck is right now, to be honest. But I think it's like okay-ish. When I first saw it, I didn't really think too much of it. I think this deck's probably also C tier, to be honest. Maybe.
Yeah, I think it's okay. It's not terrible on its own, honestly. And I think it's kind of interesting with what you could do with it. Drawing a card's not a bad thing. In the attack is colorless, so you could slot it in. I'm trying to think like it's be a big mistake, but I might just try it with like an Alakazam deck where because it lets me draw cards, right?
Yeah, no, I've seen this in Alakazam a little bit. I mean, okay, I don't think it's very good in Alakazam, but maybe it's I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, the problem is it's a bunch of deck slots, and it's a bunch of evolution Pokemon to play, so I might be shrinking my hand, but it's certainly not a bad thing. And it's something like that, and it may have some other decks, right? Like you said, Terapagos. If I'm playing a deck like that, do I want this Toucannon in that, right? I
Yeah, I think it
might maybe
functions like I mean when you're playing this, so you do really need to be playing a Terra as well, and then you're probably playing
yeah,
Noctowl, and it works really well with Fan Rotom.
yes.
So I mean I think
Hmm.
Toucan is interesting a little bit, not like crazy interesting, but somewhat interesting.
Yeah. So I mean, if we're rating though as the primary attacker, it's coming up a little short, but it has some value outside of its own deck, right? So it's in C tier. Do you think it's better than Slowbro? Is it kind of we're talking in that territory with Toucannon?
Yeah, honestly, it might even be it's probably better than Mega Zeraora as well. Like Mega Zeraora probably isn't very good.
Okay, so I mean the two decks seeing play are the Relicanth and the Excadrill. So you think it's right below
No,
the Excadrill?
what? No, Delmise, Hide Sneak, and
Oh,
X.
Delmise. Yeah, sorry, Delmise. Yeah, sorry about that. So Delmise is the best deck. So you think it's below the Excadrill though? Is that where you're placing it?
Yeah, and honestly, this is kind of what we've been seeing in terms of plays in Japan. This tier list isn't perfectly matching that, and obviously, as time goes on, we'll kind of see what happens. Sometimes cards kind of slip under the radar as well, and don't get played maybe as much as they should, or more than they should, or whatever. But I feel pretty happy with this list here.
Yeah, no, I think it's pretty solid. We see one B tier deck, a bunch of C a tier, and some D tiers, which means the meta is not going to change, right? Unfortunately, if you're sick of the meta, it's going to continue, right? That's the downside. You have some new things to have fun with, try out, but the top decks are going to stay the top decks too.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a lot of potential in this set. There are even cards we didn't talk about, like some trainers and
Yeah,
stuff that are kind of cool. That aren't really like deck changers. There's
right.
even honestly, some of those trainers kind of help Drag Ball as well. And we do have a bunch of Psychic decks as well, which are kind of Drag Ball counters. So I'm excited for the set, definitely. I'd say more excited than I was for Chaos Rising. I was obviously excited for Chaos Rising because I'm excited for every new set, but like there weren't too many new decks. There was mostly just Mega Greninja that really interested in me. Some I'd say there's probably I'm mostly looking at the fossil stuff and the no hand size stuff. What are you looking at from this set that you're excited for, or out of these decks?
Well, the Laurentis is definitely something I want to try out. Chandelure type, I like those retreat cost decks, and the Toucannon actually as I don't know if it's its own deck, but something I like the card itself. Oh, and Relicanth is just a favorite of mine. So that and the fossils obviously is a nice package, both the Relicanth and just trying out some of the other fossils now that we get the stadium, right? That opens up a lot of possibilities there, things to mess around with. So there's a lot of I think decks to try. None of them are going to be dominant, but things to have fun with is where this sets. That's the value of the set. A bunch of things to try and have fun with.
Yeah, there's so much cool stuff in this set. But tell us in our YouTube comment section on our channels, Uncommon Fossil and 10 Types, your thoughts on these decks. If there are any decks we didn't talk about as well, because there were some we considered that we didn't talk about that honestly they're pretty bad and also not very interesting. But there are a few other decks, and also anything we missed with any of these decks. Again, leave us comments on our YouTube channels. Also, make sure you like and subscribe on our YouTube channels. But you can listen to us on podcasting platforms if you want. And yeah, we got the podcast there. But we hope you all enjoyed it. As always, we're excited to see you in the next episode.
Take care.